गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। आज का अपडेट में बिफोर द अपडेट विल हैव अ लुक एट some issues which I have put into play, though it's about the BRICS update. But I'm going to uh, go on a bit of a tangent. I'm sorry for this change in timing because I was with General Dushyant के साथ था मैं आज उनका स्ट्राइव डायलॉग्स में ब्रिक्स के बारे में बातचीत हो रहा था. ओके, लेट्स स्टार्ट. द फर्स्ट स्लाइड, something different. You can't see it, I know it. Right, this is a website called Ipsos. And what does Ipsos do? Right, it's a French website where it carries out a survey, carries out an analysis every year, and it puts out the trustworthiness index of armed force members. That is, हर देश का जो मिलिट्री है वो कितना ट्रस्टवर्दी है, विश्वसनीय है, उसके बारे में ये अंदाजा लगाते हैं. हर देश का ग्लोबली, इंटरनली सब कुछ मिल मिला के इसका रैंकिंग ये लेते हैं. और ये तो बड़ा मजे की बात है और फकर की बात है, राइट. दे हैव चोजन इंडिया एज द बेस्ट मिलिट्री इन टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रस्टवर्दीनेस ग्लोबली. क्या बोलते हैं ये? एज ऑफ जुलाई 30, 2022, India ranks first in the Ipsos Trustworthiness Index of Armed Forces members, indicating a high level of global trust in the country's military personnel. This reflects the confidence that people have in the integrity, bravery, and commitment to duty exhibited by armed forces of India. इसमें तो कोई दो राय नहीं है. आप कोई भी सर्वे इंडिया में ही ले लीजिए, वो सब बोलेंगे कि इंडियन आर्म फोर्सेस आर द हाईएस्ट रैंक ऑन ऑल सर्विसेज इन इंडिया. ये बार बार मैं बचपन से देख के आ रहा हूं. अब it is internationally established. That's the beauty. And अगर आप देखेंगे यहाँ, this is the ranking. अभी नजदीक देखेंगे कि you have a look at it. इंडिया is at 64. उसके बाद स्वीडन और यूएसए आता है और वो 8 पॉइंट पीछे हैं, और उसके बाद वगैरह 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 वगैरह. राइट, ये शायद, and there are only 20 countries and there are 24 rankings because some countries have tied and all that. Indian Armed Forces and its members have beaten everyone hands down, and if I may say, with a lot of pride, pants down. ये आप देखिए ये. First is India with 64, then comes Sweden and USA at 56, 8-point lead. Then France, UK, Australia, Canada, Spain, Malaysia, वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह, down to South Korea. The interesting point in this, the most interesting point in this is what? You've seen it all. पाकिस्तान और चाइना का इसमें नाम और निशान नहीं है. ये कहीं पहले 24 में आता ही नहीं है. So anyway, who trusts Pakistan army? No one. And China is not far behind. No one trusts the PLA. So they are out. But India being trusted globally as the highest ranked military organization whose members are fully trusted is something I also didn't know. It is a reflection of the hard work done by my predecessors and their predecessors and the culture and traditions of this armed forces in our country and abroad. It speaks of the integrity. It speaks of the love of the armed forces for its people. and the love of the people for the armed forces. It also speaks of the confidence which the global community has in the armed forces of our country. Trust. And when you go for war, when you go for conflict, when you go for many things, you place trust in your seniors, you place trust in your juniors. जब तक आप आपके जूनियर्स और सीनियर्स के ऊपर ऊपर विश्वास नहीं रखते हो, लड़ाई जीते नहीं जाते। और बात यह है कि वियतनाम में जब अमेरिका वहाँ वियतनाम वॉर चल रहा था, लोग उनके जवान ऑफिसर्स को भी मार देते थे पीठ के पीछे। ये बहुत बार हुआ है, इसको बोलते हैं फ्रैगिंग। इंडिया में मैंने आज तक ये नहीं देखा, मेरे सर्विस में बिल्कुल। यहां तक इन कॉम्बैट सिचुएशंस मेरे जवान आए मेरे सामने और खड़े हो गए, बोले भाई हमारा ऑफिसर को हम बचाएंगे। और उसी तरीके से हमारे ऑफिसर, मैं जवानों को बचाता था। ये था ट्रस्ट बिटवीन ऑफिसर्स एंड जवान। और वही ट्रस्ट है हमारे आर्म फोर्सेस मेंबर्स और हमारा लोगों के साथ। और इसी ट्रस्ट पे कायम होता है देश का एक सबसे बड़ा पिलर। और इसीलिए हम बोलते हैं कि हमारा इंडियन आर्म फोर्सेस है इज द लास्ट बेस्टियन ऑफ दिस नेशन। और ये बात अब दुनिया में बोला जा रहा है। मेरा पर्सनल एग्जांपल अगर लेंगे तो मैं एक बार गया था यूएसए में उस कोर्स में बहुत दिन के बाद गया, कोई इंडियन आर्मी ऑफिसर गया था या इंडियन आर्म फोर्सेस के ऑफिसर गया था। तो वो बोल रहे थे कि भाई वी आर एब्सोल्युटली टेकन अबैक बाय द वे द इंडियन आर्म फोर्सेस पीपल बिहेव। राइट, दिस इज द ग्लोबल व्यू एंड दिस इज द नॉर्मल इंडियन व्यू। पर आजकल मेरे को, इसीलिए मैंने ये वीडियो जारी किया है। ये वीडियो इसीलिए जारी किया है कि मैं आप सब लोगों के जरिए उन लोगों के ऊपर के पास एक संदेशा भेजना चाहता हूँ। और वो संदेशा है हमारे पॉलिटिशियंस को, और खास करके मणिपुर में। वहां अफसोस की बात है कि लोग फौज को पसंद करते हैं, पर हमारा जो राजनीतिक लोग नहीं करते। और इसीलिए इंडियन आर्मी ने ये खबर फैला है। दिस इज देयर ऑन द ट्विटर। और ये नौबत कभी आना नहीं चाहिए था कि फैब्रिकेटेड अटेम्प्ट्स टू malign इमेज ऑफ असम राइफल्स, ये कभी आना नहीं चाहिए था। मैं मानता हूं कि even our paramilitary forces are all part of the armed forces. They all generate that trust globally. And the Assam Rifles, जिसका परंपरा 100-150 साल से चला आ रहा है, इट्स ऑल आर्म्स फोर्स, ऑल इंडिया फोर्स with some more portion from the northeast, but northeast is huge. It is officered by the army officers. It is operating under the army through proper instructions of the armed forces, Indian army in Manipur and everywhere. That has been maligned. Why? Rajniti, politics. We have to think very seriously. Can you imagine a situation that an armed force, the last bastion of your nation, is called in aid of civil authority by the state, and the state says we don't need you, and the army is forced to bring this out, and that too in a state for the past 3 months, people are being killed. There's a war taking place. There's a buffer zone being established as if it's a LAC between two communities, and the armed forces are not being allowed to do their job, and they have to come out with such a statement. The Indian Army, please note, this is not from the Assam Rifles. ये इंडियन आर्मी का है, ट्विटर में है, एक शब्द में है, जारी है. ये लास्ट में देखिए, इंडियन आर्मी एंड असम राइफल्स assure the people of Manipur that we will continue to remain firm and resolute in our actions to prevent any attempt that could result in furthering violence in an already volatile atmosphere. Does the army have to ever talk like this? If the army has to talk like this, why call it? Somewhere there's something wrong. And that's what I wanted to put this out of. I have the pride. The world says the Indian Army is the most trusted man, or the Indian Army, Indian Armed Forces member is most trusted. But certain elements in Manipur and don't feel so. This is there today in Twitter, open. Indian Army won't be able to solve anything in Manipur. This is from a chief minister. He has said it. आप सब लोगों को पता है. And this is what another of my friends, or I won't say friend, my brother in uniform has said. For this individual to be now the CM, he should be thankful to the over 3 decades of sweat and blood of his countrymen who donned uniform to control secessionist tendencies in Assam and other neighboring states. This is a fact. He has forgotten that the army cannot solve anything. Can he solve anything? हम भी हैं, हम भी तो थे वहां. पिछले 30 साल से हम देख रहे हैं. So somewhere हमें सोचने की जरूरत है. मेरा बड़ा सिंपल तरीका है, अगर फौज की जरूरत नहीं है आप बेच दीजिए. अगर आप सोचते हो कि और सेंट्रल फोर्सेस अच्छे हैं फौज से, या पुलिस फोर्सेस अच्छे हैं, आप सब बेच दीजिए. बट इफ यू कॉल द आर्मी, don't demean it. When you call the armed forces out and you demean them, you are demeaning the nation and you are demeaning yourself. I felt very bad. I felt very bad that General Shaukin Chauhan expressed something like this in another channel. It is not just about the Assam Rifles. It's an attitude. You can't, just because of political gain, say something about an organization which the world says is the best in terms of trust. I leave it at that now. Let me see. Tomorrow I'm going to put this video out. I would like you to send this video to everyone. Let me see what people say. In my entire life, I have never seen any one officer or Jawan or a JCO take sides one against the other in a situation of this kind. My message to the people who are in power, whichever political system they are from, or whichever political party you are from, don't do this to the army. Don't do this to the armed forces. They remain the last bastion of the nation. Don't make the army, or don't paint the army as untrustworthy. That the Indian army has to put out such missives. Jai Hind. Okay, अभी हम we'll talk of the BRICS. We'll talk of this also. I have no problem. Right now, as far as the BRICS are concerned, there's a very clear movement by China कि इसमें कि ये ब्रिक्स को इस्तेमाल कर रहा है to make it you know साइनोसेंट्रिक वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर. ये प्लेटफॉर्म बनाना चाहता है ब्रिक्स को टू प्रोपगेट अ साइनोसेंट्रिक वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर. इसीलिए इट वांट्स टू एक्सपैंड ब्रिक्स वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. बट देयर प्रॉब्लम्स, राइट. ब्रिक्स के अगर आप देखेंगे तो चाइना का इकोनॉमी बहुत बड़ा है. अगर बाकी 4 जो देश जोड़ दोगे उनके डबल है ऑलमोस्ट. रशिया का प्रॉब्लम है, वो ना इधर जा सकता ना उधर जा सकता है. साउथ अफ्रीका का सब कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, उनका अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट बहुत खराब है, सब कुछ, उनका अर्थव्यवस्था भी बहुत खराब है. वो चाइना से पैसा लाना चाहता है, लोन्स, बीआरआई. ब्राजील को भी थोड़ा, ब्राजील डजंट वांट एक्सपेंशन ऑफ ब्रिक्स वगैरह, बट चाइना वांट्स. क्यों? चाइना वांट्स टू एंश्योर ये जितने एक्सपेंशन में आ रहे हैं ब्रिक्स के अंदर, वो सब क्या है, ये बीआरआई कंट्रीज हैं. चाइना का पकड़ है उनके ऊपर, कर्ज है उनके ऊपर. सो चाइना इज यूजिंग ब्रिक्स टू मेक इट अ साइनोसेंट्रिक order. Okay, we'll just go through this and I'll come to the thing. So what does it say? This article of SCMP says BRICS challenge to the established economic order is no joke. But बात यह है कि BRICS started as an economic order, but धीरे धीरे it's becoming a political order, and China wants to make it into a geopolitical system. But then there's also counter question from them itself. कि थोड़ा doubt है, can BRICS, the torch bearer for the emerging world, challenge the established order? क्या इसमें इतना शक्ति है? बैलेंस में है अभी. ओके, ये भी है कि यू विल सी अ पुश फॉर डॉलर ऑल्टरनेटिव्स, और ये बोलते हैं कि इट्स अ पॉजिटिव डेवलपमेंट. बात यह है कि इसमें मेरे को तो डाउट नहीं है कि ये डॉलर ऑल्टरनेटिव कोई नहीं आएगा. ब्रिक्स इज नॉट, कैनॉट, यूरो काइंड ऑफ अ करेंसी विल नॉट कम आउट ऑफ ब्रिक्स, बिकॉज पांचों कंट्री का अलग अलग सिस्टम है. और जिस तरीके से रशिया यूक्रेन के साथ फंसा हुआ है, साउथ अफ्रीका का तो अर्थव्यवस्था डूब रहा है, चाइना का भी इज इन स्लो डाउन, मार्क्ड स्लो डाउन, जिसके बारे में हम परसों बात करेंगे 16 तारीख को, राइट. एंड फॉर एनी फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम ऑफ दिस, फॉर अ सेपरेट करेंसी, ट्रस्ट चाहिए, विश्वास चाहिए एक दूसरे के ऊपर. दैट ट्रस्ट इज लैकिंग टुडे between basically India and China, and even Brazil, that I'll just come to, right? And then, despite all this, China is looking at this. What does it say? The whole story is on this. China's Wang Yi calls on global South to make voice heard in changing world order. Changing world order, ये अपने तरफ से चेंज कर रहा है, वर्ल्ड करना चाहता है, और दे यू पुशिंग इट थ्रू ब्रिक्स, क्योंकि शंघाई कॉर्पोरेशन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में हुआ नहीं, राइट. इंडिया मान नहीं रहा था, जब इंडिया में हुआ वो वर्चुअल, अभी ये ट्राई कर रहे हैं. ओके, बट मेन पॉइंट ये है, इंडिया चाइना रिलेशंस, मूडी जी सेट टू मीट, विल फ्रॉस्टी टाइज टॉ एट ब्रिक्स एंड G20 समिट. अगर इंडिया और चाइना का रिलेशंस ठीक है तो ये ब्रिक्स में कुछ नतीजा निकलेगा, नहीं तो नहीं. Right. Here comes the interesting point. Tomorrow there's this 19th Core Commanders meet. Right? After the 19th Core Commanders meet, whatever happens will have a direct impact on this BRICS meet. अगर वो ठीक चला कुछ, if the needle shifts there, सुई अगर इधर उधर गया कि वो चाइना पीछे हटने का कुछ, या तो ये ब्रिक्स थोड़ा ठीक होगा, अगर नहीं है तो बिल्कुल बंद। और ये दोनों मिल, एक तो ये है। सो लॉट ऑफ व्हाट हैपेंस इन ब्रिक्स 20 तारीख को विल डिपेंड कि कल परसों जो एलएसी के ऊपर 19th कोर कमांडर मीट के ऊपर क्या हो रहा है, उसका परिणाम देख के वहां क्या होगा देखेगा। कुछ लोग बोल रहे हैं कि कुछ होने वाला है, पर देखेंगे क्या होगा। एक तो ये है। दूसरी बात, जब भी जी जिनपिंग और मोदी जी मिले हैं, उसके बाद कोई किटपिट एलएसी के ऊपर हुआ है। अभी 20 तारीख को मिलेंगे, उसके बाद होगा या नहीं, 1 महीने के अंदर, 2 महीने के अंदर, जब भी। क्यों? आप हिस्ट्री देखिए, और ये कायम है, चाहे डेमचौक में है या देपसांग में हो, चूमर नाला में, हानले में, कहीं भी हो। जब भी whenever मोदी एंड मिस्टर मोदी एंड जी जिनपिंग have met, इधर उससे पहले या उसके बाद कुछ ना कुछ हुआ है। ये G20 मीट में इंडोनेशिया में बाली में मिले थे सितंबर अक्टूबर के महीने में, अगर आपको याद है। उसके तुरंत बाद यांगजी हुआ। और खास बात यह है, अभी ये निकल आ रहा है कि ये दोनों मिले थे और उन्होंने तय कर लिया कि ये स्टेबलाइज करेंगे रिलेशन बिटवीन इंडिया एंड चाइना। ये बात के बावजूद यांगजी के ऊपर उन्होंने अटेम्प्ट किया। तो आप कुछ भी कर लो, ये बातचीत के बाद दोबारा ये करेंगे। वो एलएसी में कुछ बात कर लेंगे, वो पीछे हटने का या कुछ जो भी है, उसके बाद ब्रिक्स का मीटिंग हो जाएगा, जो भी उनको कराना है करा लेंगे, फिर वहां जाएंगे एलएसी के ऊपर। तो इनको क्या ऊपर विश्वास कर सकते हैं? आई एम हाईलाइटिंग दिस पॉइंट। सो दिस थिंग समथिंग विच वी हैव टू टेक केयर आफ्टर द ब्रिक्स। बी केयरफुल कि पीएलए कुछ करेगा, अगर करेगा मुंह तोड़ जवाब देना है उनको। ये हमें क्लियर होना चाहिए कि करो और मरो। ओके। एक और बात यह है कि ये एक प्यू रिपोर्ट आया था एक पिछले महीने, और इसमें यह था कि द व्यूज ऑफ चाइना आर ब्रॉडली नेगेटिव इन इंडिया एंड ब्राजील। और इनका क्या है कि their negative views about China have gone up by 21% in Brazil and India against China। वो काफी है 21%। उससे क्या है कि both these countries will be क्योंकि आफ्टर ऑल दोनों डेमोक्रेसी है, ठीक है। तो ये क्या है, चाइना के साथ बड़ा समझौता नहीं कर सकते कोई गवर्नमेंट। इतना अगर इनका पॉपुलैरिटी डाउन है चाइना का हमारे देश के अंदर, तो कितना हम छूट दे सकते हैं चाइना को, कितना नॉर्मलाइज कर सकते हैं, और उतना आसानी से नहीं होगा। और खास करके इनकी गतिविधियां देखिए। चाइना ने एक्चुअली अगर आप देखेंगे तो उन्होंने यूएन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल का रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन और बदलाव के लिए वही एक अड़चन है, क्योंकि सब चाहते हैं, इवन ब्राजील वांट्स रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बट चाइना डजंट वांट इट टू हैपन, क्योंकि अगर हो गया तो इंडिया को वीटो पावर मिल जाएगा। ये न्यूक्लियर सप्लाई ग्रुप में हमें अंदर आने नहीं दिया। एलएसी के ऊपर तो जो कर रहे हैं कर ही रहे हैं। ये बार बार इंडियन ओशन में भी कुछ किटपिट करे जा रहे हैं। तो ये सब देख के दे वांट टू टेक व्हाट दे वांट आउट ऑफ अस फ्रॉम ब्रिक्स। विल दे गिव अस व्हाट वी वांट एक्सेप्ट द एलएसी सम मोमेंट? Very careful, we have to be very careful. I hope people are careful. Okay, we cannot trust them. And then of course, on a balance, अगर आप देखेंगे तो BRICS is a good thing because it promotes multilateralism and global governance. फिर it's a balance against the G7 and BRICS. ये जितने emerging economies हैं, they can avoid taking sides between US and China or Russia Ukraine, but they have to contend with India China problem. इसमें दो राय नहीं है। आज के दिन more than 40 countries have either formally applied or expressed interest in joining BRICS, including Saudi Arabia, Iran, Argentina, UAE and Indonesia. बहुत आना चाहते हैं। ये सब चाइना का करामत है कि अंदर ले आओ, इनका पोटेंशियल तो बहुत है, बट इंडिया एंड ब्राजील वांट टू गो स्लो। क्या होगा देखेंगे, राइट? और इसका अगेंस्ट क्या है? ये पांचों देश ब्रिक्स नेशंस दे आर इकोनॉमिकली टू डाइवर्स एंड जियोग्राफिकली स्कैटर्ड इफेक्टिव होने के लिए। जो पुतिन साहब हैं वो तो आएंगे नहीं, जो जो भी आएगा वो ही कैन नॉट क्लिंच अ डील। सो मेन component of BRICS, their head will be not there in Johannesburg। और उसके बाद इंडिया चाइना का प्रॉब्लम तो है ही। लास्ट पॉइंट है, ब्रिक्स कैनॉट बी अ प्लेटफॉर्म फॉर चाइनाज एजेंडा टू प्रमोट बेल्ट एंड रोड इनिशिएटिव, ग्लोबल डेवलपमेंट वगैरह वगैरह। इन्होंने ट्राई किया शंघाई में, शंघाई कॉर्पोरेशन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, हमने नाम बोल दिया, तो दिस वी कैन नॉट अलाउ देम टू डू दैट। सो इट्स अ इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग कि क्या होगा नहीं होगा। मेरा पर्सनल थिंग है, थोड़ा बहुत होगा फेस सेविंग के लिए, हो सकता है कुछ छूट दे दें एलएसी के ऊपर, हम भी कुछ छूट दे दें इधर, पर जरा सा होगा। विल इट मूव द नीडल टू मच, विल सी। और इसके बारे में हम डिस्कस करेंगे इन डेप्थ 24 तारीख को। 20 तारीख को ये मीटिंग है, 24 तारीख को हम बात करेंगे गुरजीत सिंह साहब के साथ, जो हमारे एम्बेसडर रह चुके हैं अफ्रीकन यूनियन और एशियन में, और उनसे पूरा देंगे कि ब्रिक्स का कहां तक जाता है। और ये भी है, ये ग्लोबल टाइम्स का है, ये क्या बोलता है, ये हम अनाप शनाप, ये सिर्फ 5-6 दिन, इंडिया पुशेस इंडो पैसिफिक रीजन टू मोर ट्रबल्स अंडर फसाड ऑफ बीइंग अ बैलेंसिंग फैक्टर, right? And they've written all kinds of nonsense. He's written it is not an exaggeration to say that India is increasingly aligning itself with the Indo-Pacific strategy, right? So basically, they are totally been against us. ये सब को छोड़ के we cannot go and join China. And of course, LAC का प्रॉब्लम है ही, इंडियन ओशन में प्रॉब्लम्स हैं ही, और म्यांमार में भी प्रॉब्लम्स करेंगे, मणिपुर में भी अभी करने के चक्कर में है, होंगे, वो तो आ जाएगा कल के दिन। So we have to be careful, right? Today, the last thing which I want to talk of is what's happened in Gwadar, right? ये है Global Times का tweet on the left. Global Times has said that they have, of course, everyone knows that the Chinese convoy of engineers has been targeted. जो खबर आ रहा है ऑफिशियली फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान की, कोई मरा नहीं, कुछ नहीं हुआ, बट बीएलए वाले बोल रहे हैं कि 4 चाइना के इंजीनियर्स मर गए और 9 पाकिस्तानी सोल्जर्स हैव बीन किल्ड। व्हाट इज द ट्रूथ वी डोंट नो, बट द अटैक हैज टेकन प्लेस। देखिए, ये चौथा अटैक है, ग्वादर में ये तीसरा अटैक है। ग्वादर में पहले भी, ग्वादर में दूसरा अटैक है। ग्वादर में पहले एक अटैक हुआ जो बच गया था, एक क्वेटा में होटल में हुआ था जहां चाइना का एम्बेसडर जा रहा था, उससे पहले अटैक हुआ था। कराची में हुआ था, दासू डैम में हुआ था जब 12-14 चाइना वाले मर गए थे, और ये 5वां है। एंड दिस इज प्रीटी सीरियस, राइट? एंड ये तब हो रहा है जब कल परसों से एक वो इंटरिम गवर्नमेंट आने वाला है, नया गवर्नमेंट, एंड इट इज अ डायरेक्ट चैलेंज टू एवरीवन देयर। इट इज अ डायरेक्ट चैलेंज टू चाइना, इट इज अ डायरेक्ट चैलेंज टू पाकिस्तान एंड द आर्मी। एंड अगर आप देखेंगे तो द थिंग इज गोइंग आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल इन पाकिस्तान। इनका कंट्रोल बिल्कुल नहीं है, और खास करके अलोंग द वेस्टर्न बॉर्डर। अगर बिल्कुल कंट्रोल नहीं है अलोंग द वेस्टर्न बॉर्डर वगैरह वगैरह, हमने क्या करना है? हमें सिर्फ चुप रहना है। यही मैं बात बताता रहता हूँ, जब उन्हीं के लोग उन्हीं को मार रहे हैं तो हम क्यों जाके कष्ट करें बीच? जस्ट let them do what they want and let them be happy with the whole thing, right? So that's the sum total आज के लिए as far as update is concerned. I'll take on the questions, otherwise I see a lot of questions. Let me finish the supers first. Pranam, General Shankar. We hear a lot that Russia is the junior part of China, but how world's largest country with 50% of the world resources, tech and energy resource, surplus, strong, self-sufficient. So who cares about artificial GDP? What are you saying is absolutely correct. But Russia is caught in a geopolitical situation where it needs China. And till the time the Ukraine war continues, right? there's going to be a problem in China. Also, sorry, in Russia. Also, don't forget that Prigozhin fellow, he's created chaos. Today only I saw an article which says either Prigozhin will be killed or he'll create another mutiny. So there's political uncertainty in Russia. There's a war going on. Its economy is going down. War economies are always bad, notwithstanding. And this war was not likely to end in a hurry. Itna jaldi khatam nahi hoga. So it's in a bind, and its economy can will float, keep only float, and its war effort will continue only if India and China help it, and more China, because China is supporting it geopolitically where India is not. So it is at this point of time, it is a junior partner. But रशिया चाइना का इक्वेशन जो है इज ट्रांजैक्शनल, कल के दिन ये बिगड़ सकता है, right? And China itself is going into problems. We'll see about this on 16th when I talk to you about China. कि China का क्या problems है. So what happens if China also gets into some conflict situation? वो भी is on the cards. जो हरकतें वहाँ साउथ चाइना सी में हो रहे हैं, I won't rule out conflict. And ये ब्रिक्स में अगर ये मोदी और जीचिन सिंह दोनों का बातचीत अगर सही नहीं हुआ तो कुछ हमारा एलएसी के ऊपर भी हो सकता है, जो मैंने बोला ऐतिहासिक है. Let's see how it goes. But the point you're making is right. It shouldn't be so. But unfortunately, Russia has got caught in a weak situation. Thanks a lot, Pranamalu General Shankar, Vande Matram, same to you. Thanks a lot again. And JBJP, loved the intro, love Indian Army as Punjabi, proud that Punjab gives 3 regiments to service of nation. Yeah, I mean, it's not only Punjab, every guy in the armed forces is good. And everyone who comes, actually, the army represents the true secular fabric of this nation. People, talk ill of secularity, but we live it. We live it, and that's how you progress as a nation. Anyway, okay. Mohit says greetings from Wilmington, Delaware. Oh, welcome. Long way. Must be midday there, I suppose. Right, John Doe. I was wondering why our 2 friends were not on the list. Okay. Yeah, not good to see SK at the bottom and Japan. That's how it is. Trust. They get trust. How does trust in the armed force gets developed? It is based on your performance. It is based on your credo. It is based on the trust generated by people, your professionalism. You must know that we have been called out for UN duties. The maximum people in UN, our performance in UN duties is the highest order. Not from now, right from Congo, Korea, long, right? Absolutely professional. Just think, Chinese Americans come to India to learn. We think, you think this PLA fellows are matched to us? And trust gives strength. It gives lot of strength. It gives lot of strength to the armed forces. It gives lot of strength to people. You have to trust. And the army has never failed the nation, except 62, and that's because people failed us. Politicians failed us then. I hope this Manipur situation doesn't fail us the way it is. And I hope someone gets this message. Right? Ankit says, good evening. Would you love to see Taiwan in there? Look, problem with Taiwan is they have not been professional so far. If there's a problem, that Taiwan turning into Ukraine is the Taiwanese forces. Are they strong enough? Are they hard enough to resist PLA? The character of Taiwanese, I don't doubt. But are they professional enough? That's a question mark. Why France? Sorry. why France wants to join BRICS. France has a lot of interest in Africa. It has got a lot of interest in Latin America, and it has got a lot of business interests in China and India now, plus the Middle East. So it wants to join. It's an alternate economic system, right? YouTube has popular videos on rules of mental toughness, self-discipline, art of war, strategy, वगैरह वगैरह. With your all this will is different. The toughness of the armed forces are a different breed. We don't see videos on YouTube. I didn't become mentally tough by seeing all these videos. No one taught me. It is hard work, professionalism, and knowledge. If you think I've become a general, when I say it's not so. It's taken me years of study, years of self discipline, years of working with my men. Till now, people call me my old men, old people who taught me. I learned from my men. I learned from my JCOs. They call me and say, "Saab, आप तो general बन गए, अब ठीक ठाक हो कि नहीं?" I have two video groups with my men, not WhatsApp groups. रोज हम जय माता जी की बोलते रहते हैं. Okay. Pakistan, let's see what happens. Again, everything is, yeah, guys, upward for that. No, thanks. Don't vote for me. Vote for the Indian Army. Vote for our armed forces. They have made me what it is. Manipur crisis is a great example of Modi's apathy towards Hindus and India in general. This is no confidence speech in Parliament. Modi shamed the Indian Army. Why blame the BJP? I don't go to that extent, but I think the basic problem is in that state. That state has issues, and I think we have to look at it from that point of view. Okay. Info warfare, narrative warfare are important elements in causing and sustaining the money. I completely agree with you. Next Sunday, we're going to have a panel discussion with General Shaukin Chauhan, General K.H. Singh, who's a Manipuri himself in the Methi, and he's the highest ranked officer in or ex-officer of Manipur, and Sanjay Hazarika, who's an excellent writer of Northeast affairs. इन तीनों का मैं कर रहा हूँ संडे के दिन webinar here on Kasa and with the Ghana shot 12 baje. It'll be in the afternoon at 12 o'clock. Of course, I put it out in the thing already. So please join in and ask them questions. And I'm the guy who's going to moderate that, so I'll have enough time to take all your questions. What are the factors that causing hurdles in implementing ASFA in Manipur? Politics, politics, and politics. Nothing else. Agendas and narratives. Understand and agree with your opinion. Yeah, thanks a lot. I have no doubt about it. I have no doubt. Look, let me put it. I have no problem with the Mehtis. I have no problem with the cookies. I've helped them both. Both are good people, but they've been misguided by political entities and drugs. Drugs are the main issue there, as it's coming out, because money. You can't fight against greed. That's the problem. The greed, political greed, all that. Otherwise, Manipuris are normal people. I have friends in Maitis, I have friends in Cookies. They're good people. Both are nationals. I mean, to say one is a foreigner and all is all bunk. I've always said that it's not a Christian and Hindu affair. And yet I see people coming out in the Twitter and saying Hindu ko ye karenge, wo karenge. So it's not, I mean, something, yeah. Exactly, the military does not take sides and get attacked for doing so. So is a case of the government. Yeah, it's easy to blame the prime minister. He's got so many things in hand. Okay, the chief minister is the guy on the ground. He should sort it out. He's the one to decide whether ASFA is needed or not. Right. And my view is very simple. It is not performed, it should be changed. I'm sure this is a democracy. You mean to say in BJP there's no one else? Or get president's rule. There are so many things which can be done. Or get a peace committee to talk to people and cool the thing down. But this half-cocked thing going on is not correct. And I feel that that chief minister is holding their own party people to ransom. Okay, it's so frustrating to hear such statements questioning. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, Anand. As we opposite, same goes for yeah. I agree. So all the countries forming BRICS depend heavily on export earnings to Europe and USA. Will the West allow BRICS an easy walkover on currency at a cost of diminution? It will not happen. Look, now everyone is talking. What you're saying, you actually hit a very fundamental issue. Everyone wants to export to the richer countries. That's how trade takes place, isn't it? But the richer countries are now going to into a problem. If they don't accept what you're producing, and that's what's happening in China. अगर वो आपका एक्सपोर्ट नहीं लेंगे तो क्या होगा आपका? आप तो फंस गए ना. Then your economy will go down. The richer country's economy will revive. Tomorrow he will do something and he'll revive his own economy. He'll start consuming. But by then your economy is broken. That's what's happening in China. And the richer countries are doing it systematically. 3 साल पहले when COVID came, I said that this decoupling will not stop. It will continue. In 5 years, if 20 to 25% of trade goes away from China, China will become a normal nation. I think we are somewhere getting there. In 5 years' time, another 2 to 3 years' time, 2025-26, you will see China's GDP will fall and things will happen. And that I'll discuss on 16th. Yeah, अंकित सर चाइना गिर रहा जब डी-डॉलराइजेशन होने से सब लोग डर के अमेरिका पैसे क्यों लगा रहे हैं इंडिया अपना खजाना क्यों खाली कर रहा है well there's no choice we are caught in a trap okay so that's how it is China गिर रहा है जब okay we have spoken of this. As long as India is not permitted into the nuclear supply group, we will not be in a position to leverage or export. Yeah, I agree with you completely. Right? And why should we then go after China? Why should we help China and BRICS? That's the point. Actually, पहले क्या था कि China could get away with a lot of things because it had more leverage against everyone else. Today, its leverages are going down. Especially against India, it's going down. And you've seen what Global Times has said. So things will change. Yeah, cost in. I agree with you completely. To what extent can longer runaways mitigate effects of high altitude? No, it can't. See, you can't have a runway which is 10 kilometers long, okay, to get that speed and go off. But ultimately, uh, okay, let me give you a personal example, which I quote this. In summers are camping seasons. In summers, after 9, 8, 9, when I was posted there, I was in a reasonably senior appointment. I was looking after the complete administration of Leh and Ladakh, Kargil, everything. So all flights which used to come from there to Leh and um, Ladakh, complete. Uh, I had a clear idea and control. I had to tell how many had to come where, what is to go where, and all. Normally, on an average, we had to get about 2 flights to Toys. Toys is in across Kardungla, and Leh, 2 to 3 flights south of Kardungla. In summers, these flights could not had to clear this entire area by 8:39 at morning. So that means at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, they used to come, land, and get out. Why? The runway becomes like a mirror. It heats up, temperature goes up. The aircraft can't land. If it lands, it can't take off. And What will happen to the fully? And I have seen it's often I have seen IL-76 struggle to take off from Leh airfield without load. No load, no nothing, but it will struggle to take off. A fellow will take off at the end of the runway. If I used to feel, yeah, if it goes another 50 meters that side is off. I once saw Jet used to operate passenger flights from Toys. Once I went there, I was in Toys when I saw this jet taking off with people. People going on leave and coming in used to come by chartered flights. Almost at the end of the runway. If that fellow had gone another 10 feet, 15 feet, he would have hit the, you know, rough patch of the runway. The aircraft doesn't get power in summers. And summers are campaigning seasons. Turbulence. So if the chap has weight, he can't take off. So if he is low, he is of no use. The aircraft is only a platform. He needs weapons. So if you load that aircraft with a lot of weapons, he can't take off. And oxygen. Basically lack of oxygen and food. And their airfields, which is, are at about 10, 15,000. Not 15, 10. 10 plus. It's very difficult. It's not easy. I hope I made you understand this. So, in summers, during daytime, PLF will be on ground. If they come up, they'll have very little endurance. Either they'll have very little endurance or they'll have very little weapons. Okay. So that's why they are, I keep saying, they can't sustain operations in Leh and Ladakh in high altitudes. They don't have the capability. And the number of airfields are less. They have 2 or 3 airfields. If you take them out, they're finished. Whereas we have so many of them, you can take off from anywhere you want. And we have civil airfields also along the foothills. From wherever you want, you will be there within no time. So the advantage is actually huge. And if you think some guy is going to do air refueling and come and attack and all, forget it. You have to understand that Jap who's piloting is a pilot. Yeah, heavily pissed. These chaps let you put a bottle and go. So that how much time will you be on the aircraft? 3, 4, 5 hours? Flying at that speeds with full weight up and doing maneuvers? It's crazy. People don't understand what they talk. Why are Americans targeting Russia instead of China, whereas China is a real threat? Well, that's their policy. That's something which, it's the Biden's own craziness to go towards Russia. You know, for all uh, everything else and all the faults which have been ascribed, Trump had the right idea. Trump was going to China direct. Okay. And the Chinese were absolutely scared of Trump because he was unpredictable. Now the things have changed. Now we are 2 years into it. Let's see how it goes. How do you foresee the procurement of common platforms across the Navy? Yeah, we are. The Herons which you got is common platforms. The AD systems are common platforms. They'll happen. In these things, nothing happens overnight. It will happen over a 10-15 year period. I mean, if you think it will happen overnight, just forget it. It will not. It will not happen. Take it from me. You made a heavy statement. I hope Manipur doesn't fail us. Yeah, I hope it doesn't. Right now, if the army has to put out such a statement, is it possible to skip China from BRICS? No, not possible. Is this situation similar to Manorama Devi case in late 2000s, where the women were at the fore and forefront, and Assam Rifles had to vacate the Kangla fort in Impal. Samuel Pal, you asked me a question which I didn't want to talk of, but now I'll talk. See, when Manorama Devi was forced out, I mean, whatever happened to her, and people demonstrated, ladies demonstrated outside Kangla fort, 2004 5, I don't remember the date exactly. And they were naked and said, Indian army rape us, yeah, all that. They, it was the conscience of the nation which was affected, which rose, and the Assam rifles were taken out of the Kangla fort forever. Now, who were those ladies? Metis. The women's movement in Assam, I mean in Manipur and Northeast, is very strong. It is the ladies who did what they did. Okay, and I don't blame them for what they did. They felt very strongly that Manorama Devi was raped, etc. But though it was not the case, Manorama Devi was not a straight lady. She was part of the insurgent group. And leave that out. But they they did that. The Metis did it. They went. How could these same Metis and these Methi ladies accept the fact that cookie ladies could be stripped and paraded by their own community? If that has happened, then there is something very seriously wrong. I cannot imagine the ladies of the Methi ladies accepting this after having done what they did. That is a fracture. Is it a political fracture? Is it a cultural fracture? Is it a societal fracture? It's very deep. But right now, it's a fundamental law and order fracture which has to be resolved, and then you can go ahead with all this. That no one is talking of. You've spoken about it, I've spoken. Yeah. China and Bhutan are having talks. No, I don't think so. Bhutan will not do anything without our. Okay, so it's okay. How patriotic are minorities like Tibetans, Mongols, and Manchus? They're not patriotic at all. Not patriotic to the Han. They don't like the Han Chinese, right? Their patriotism is suspect. It is suspect because the Uyghur Muslims and Tibetans, they are being persecuted by the PLA, so they will not be patriotic. US groomed Germany, Japan, China, and manufacturing. Most of the quality of manufacturing in essence has come from US. Still, Chinese manufacturing has focused on product quality than quantity than quality. Yeah, that's a fact, Vaman. I agree with you. They don't have any thing of. In fact, that brings me to another thing. The quality of their weapons is question mark. So we don't know what their weapons are. Okay. Yeah, we have answered this question. Raj Dahiya, first time. Any light-hearted Daru story? Sometime other, some other day. There are a lot. Okay. With Chinese internet heavily controlled, what happens when Chinese go outside China, like sportsmen, tourists? Do they understand cheat sheet? Yeah, they do. But what do they do? Many of them, some of them run away. They'll go back as students to outside, yeah, all that. But I pity them actually. Is deep state business easy or deep state? Yeah, there is always a deep state in every state. The core of that state is deep state. So there's no point in saying there's a deep state. The problem is of the deep state and is at odds with the normal state. It has a hidden agenda. Every state will have a hidden agenda, but if the deep state has a widely different agenda from what the normal state is, there's a problem. Yeah, in case China invades Taiwan, will US open another front via Pakistan and pro? I don't think so. Not via Pakistan. Not via Pakistan. They might do something in Xinjiang, yes. They might do something in Tibet, yes. They might do something even in Mongolia, probably, but not through Pakistan. Pakistan, they don't trust. The Gurumurti, I don't know. Problem in Manipur has reached a flashpoint following the inclusion of Methi into ST list. There was judicial order which is being opposed by the other communities. There is hardly any leeway for the government. The media is also. Yeah, I agree with you, Vish. See, it's very funny. How can a community be both scheduled caste and scheduled tribe? So there's something funny. Anyway, on an average basis, how many lieutenant generals and major generals are there in the Indian Army at any given time? When I was in service, it's not changed. Lieutenant generals were about 91 or 92, and major generals were something around 250. There is hardly any leeway for the government. Yeah, this we discussed. Can the role of the border security, border patrolling be given to private military groups like Indian version? No, no. Not in India. Anywhere else, yes, not in India. Total people in the Indian Army who's, yeah, I've told you, 250 plus 90, about 350. Uh, Plus, of course, you're talking of the naval admirals, vagara, vagara, that's different. That's add another 100. Yeah, John, I hope I've given you a very technical answer. That's a fact. Okay, I've had colleagues serving in the Northeast region. We have no idea or understanding of. Yeah, I agree. I'll take a challenge. Just think, rattle down the states in the Northeast and where they are. Many people won't succeed. Why aren't leftists and wokes in US, Europe so concerned about the climate change call out? China, they'll not call out. They're not interested. Look, many of these fellows are armchair liberals and newspaper artists, narratives. They build narratives. Actually, on ground, काम करना is something completely different. India's deep state is brown sahibs and outgrowth. Hey, look, don't get into all this. Okay, these are biases. A positive, be positive. Don't be a positive. Be positive. There are no brown sahibs left, right? We don't have colonial lawyers. This. Let me explain something to you. You know, many people say, people there is a talk. Army should rid itself of its colonial habits and all. Let me explain a personal thing which has happened. I joined my unit in 1977 when I got commissioned. Went to my unit, young second lieutenant. So, every day in the morning, my operator used to come and you know, he'll come, wake me up, get up, young staff, he'll help me out and ensure that I go for PT, all that. You know what he'll say? Ram Ram Sahab, or Jai Mata Ji Ki Sahab, or Jai Ram Ji Ki. Today, if you go and tell Jai Ram Ji Ki on the street or Ram Ram or someone, or I talk to you in that language, you'll think I am some Hindutva guy or something. I'm used to this from God knows when. In my unit, Five Field Regiment, which is Rajput unit, the normal thing is Jai Mata Ji Ki. Is that, I mean, there's nothing to do with Brown Sahib business. You slept with men, I've slept with men, I've lived with men. When you're, okay, let me tell you something else which you probably don't understand. You heard of a three-man tent or a two-man tent? Actually, a three-man tent is only for two people. Why? Because the third chap is supposed to be on duty. Okay, so when we were in defenses and exercises and all, when we used to go out with the OP parties, OP party, I normally used to have OP officer with one operator and a technical assistant, three of us with a three-man tent. Two of us used to sleep, one on duty. I used to do my duty, 4 hours of duty at night. So this business of brown sahib and all is all bunk. Okay. Naturally, if you're an officer, you're given a status because you have to lead men. You have to take decisions in battle. On your decision, the other guy's life depends. The well-being of the nation depends on your decision. So you are called brown sahib because the men look up to you, and the men don't look up to you initially. They teach you, and when you become better than them, only then they look up to you, and you have to earn that respect. So don't have these fixes of all this. Okay. Naturally, in the army, there's a LN, everything. That LN is even for men. But there's a hierarchy. Everywhere there's a hierarchy. Thank you, sir, for your replies. As a son of a gunner and father who served. Oh, great. You're from Assam Rifles. It pains me deeply to see all that hard fought trust and gains becoming naught in a matter of months. No, it'll come back. Don't worry, Samuel. It'll come back. No, human thing is like that. We all start reinforcing each other's. Don't worry. Can India create? No, we should not. Create to take it. Salvajudum, I'll not talk of it. It's not relevant to the context. In a different. It's AK 203 delayed due to Russia-Ukraine war. I don't think so. I'm not actually tuned on to it. I'll find out and get back to you next time. Right. There's one more question. I meant deep state, the bureaucracy, which is a hurdle. I don't think they are the exact hurdle. They are part of the problem. I have no doubt, but they are not the exact hurdle. The hurdle is our system. For some reason, we have not been able to break out of the system. Those who have dared have broken out of the system. I'll be very honest with you. People who have dared to break out of that system can break out of that system. But that system is so tight. Okay, it's like almost a caste system. So unfortunately, it doesn't respond easily, and for that you need a lot of knowledge, you need a lot of guts, and you need to take a lot of risk, and you need someone knowledgeable at the top. Again, I keep talking. God bless his soul, late Manohar Parikar ji. He had this capability to drive people, trust people, and do things. I remember he used to get after me badly, and I used to also get after my people badly. But since I had his trust, my people had my trust, and everyone around bureaucracy and everyone had our complete trust. We made that's why if you see that thing on artillery, I've explained this. You think we would have got 4 guns in the artillery, which in a matter of 2 3 years, which we never got in 30 years? You can you, and we couldn't have got it without the bureaucracy. That the bureaucracy was part of the move. Okay, so we shouldn't blame the bureaucracy for everything. They're also human beings. They're also Indians. They also want to do well for India. But there are other issues. Okay, how to overcome fear of high levels seniors in our workplace? Just be professional. Speak the truth. Have the courage of conviction to say what you have to say. You don't have to fight with them or throw it on their face and demean them, but put it across in as good manner as possible. I still remember once I was being forced to do something, and this was in a high level meeting, and the man who was chairing that meeting said, I want you to say this. I said, I can't say that. I can't say that because A, B, C, D, E. These are the reasons. If you overrule all these reasons and say I should, then I will say yes. So he thought back and he said, okay, we'll not. And then later on, he said, yeah, I think what you said is right. So it's you have to have that courage of conviction to say no. Yes men are dangerous, but no men are also equally dangerous. So you have to have balance, and that will come out of knowledge. Is the era of tanks over? No, it's not at over. It's not yet over, right? Era of drones, not fully. Drones are part. They'll slowly become part of the system. Powerful and moving. Thanks a lot, Shritik. Yeah, might seem like a diver. Why aren't more OTA officers promoted to senior ranks? I have not seen too many generals from OTA. One of the reasons is they come a little later in life, age. So they have problems. Age is an issue. So if you enter the system a little later, uh, you can't compete against younger people. And that's one of the things. And they retire early, right? After all, age is a factor in promotion. And the higher you go, you have residual ages left is less. So age advantage they don't have. China's flora fauna are protected with intense deforestation. Yeah, I am realistic. When is the right? When is it right to question authority? When it is being misused? That's as simple as that. Many regiments owe their beginnings to a time when the Brits could set up standing armies to protect trade. All changes 15th August 1947 when a colonial army becomes a national. It's big change. That's even. I mean, you'll be surprised. Even the Britishers followed a lot of Indian traditions. They were not so British in their outlook. They used to follow it. Only thing is they couldn't speak our language, so you felt that fellow was having some tradition, and they brought some traditions from there. Equally, some of our traditions they took also. So it's not one way, right? Okay, I think we've come to the end of the tether today. Thanks a lot. We've had a great time. We'll talk tomorrow about Pakistan. Okay, 5 things which Pakistan should do but cannot do with General VP Singh. It's going to be interesting. And tomorrow is Pakistan's Independence Day, so that's why we made it a little different. Join in tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock. Bye, good evening, and Jai Hind.